I want you to imagine something with me. Imagine sitting at home on a Saturday night scrolling through Instagram and seeing photos. Photos of your family. Dressed up, smiling. At a party you were never told about, a party you were not invited to, not because they forgot. Not because there wasn't space, but because they decided deliberately that you shouldn't be there. Now imagine finding out the reason. They were afraid you would embarrass them. That's not a scene from a movie. That's my life. And today, I'm going to tell you the whole story because I think a lot of you out here have felt some version of this, and I need you to know you are not alone. Let me take you back. Growing up, I was always the different one in my family. You know how every family has that one person who doesn't quite fit the mold. That was me. My parents cared deeply about what people thought of them. Image, reputation, appearances. That was everything in our household. And I was, by their standards, unpredictable. Too loud sometimes, too emotional other times. I asked uncomfortable questions. I wore what I wanted. I laughed too hard. I cried in public. And instead of embracing that, they spent years quietly trying to manage me, shape me, sand down my edges so I would be presentable. I remember being in high school and my mom pulling me aside before a family gathering. She said, and I'll never forget these words, she said, just try to be normal tonight, okay? Just try not to be so you. Just try not to be so you. I was 16. And I took those words and I folded them up and I put them somewhere deep inside me where they sat. 4 years, because that's what you do when someone who's supposed to love you unconditionally puts a condition on your existence. Fast forward to a few years ago. My mom's side of the family was throwing a big event, a milestone kind of party, the kind where the whole extended family comes together, where cousins you haven't seen in years fly in, where there are speeches and photos and memories made. I didn't know about it. I only found out because a cousin accidentally texted me something that was meant for the group chat I wasn't in. She realized a mistake and went silent immediately. And when I reached out to my mom and asked, "Hey, is there something going on this weekend?" she paused, and then she said, "We didn't think you'd want to come." I pressed and eventually the truth came out. They had decided, as a group, my parents and some aunts and uncles, that inviting me was a risk. They weren't sure how I'd behave. They weren't sure I'd fit in with some of the more conservative guests. They thought it would be easier, cleaner, without me there. I want you to sit with that for a second. They looked at me, their child, and they saw a liability. They saw a problem to be managed. They chose the comfort of people who weren't even blood over the dignity of their own kid. I went to my room. I didn't cry right away. I just sat there in this heavy, suffocating silence, and the thought that kept running through my head was not, I hate them. It was, maybe they're right. Maybe I am too much. Maybe the world would just be easier without me in the room. And that thought is what I want every parent listening right now to understand. Because when you exclude your child, you're not just skipping a party, you're teaching them what they're worth. But here's where the story shifts, because a few months after that party, everything changed. I had been quietly working on something, a project I'd poured myself into for over 2 years. Something I'd done entirely on my own, no family support, no encouragement. Honestly, barely any acknowledgement that I was even doing it. And then it got recognized publicly in a big way. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it was because honestly, the what doesn't matter as much as the feeling of what happened next. Because suddenly my name was out there, people were sharing it, media was picking it up, and my phone started buzzing. First it was cousins, then it was aunts, then my parents, and I remember my dad calling me, and his voice was different, lighter, proud. He said, "We always knew you had it in you." Pause. I almost laughed. I almost cried. We always knew. The same people who left me off the guest Lists because they were scared I'd embarrass them. Now they always knew. And here's the thing I want to be very clear about. I did not feel vindicated in that moment. I felt sad. Because it confirmed something I had suspected my whole life, that their love was conditional. That it was tied to my success. That I was acceptable when I was winning and a liability when I was just me. That realization. That hurt more than a party ever did. I had a choice to make after that. And I see a lot of people in these situations make one of two choices. They either cut their family off completely, or they swallow everything down and pretend it never happened for the sake of keeping the peace. I didn't want to do either of those things, so I did the harder thing. I sat with my parents, not in anger, but with honesty, and I told them how that exclusion made me feel. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I just said, I need you to know that what you did hurt me, and I need you to understand why. My mom cried. My dad got defensive at first. They always do. But then he got quiet. And in that quiet, I told them about the thought I'd had that night. The one about maybe the world being easier without me in the room. And when I said that out loud, my mom's face changed in a way I'll never forget. Because she finally understood the weight of what they had done. They didn't mean to send that message. But intention doesn't cancel impact, and that's something I want every parent to hear. Every family member who has ever quietly edited someone out of plans because they were too much, you may not mean harm, but you are causing it. The children who get excluded from family tables grow into adults who believe they don't belong at any table. And that belief is incredibly hard to unlearn. I'm still unlearning it. I'm in therapy. I'm doing the work. And I'm not telling you this story because I have it all figured out. I'm telling you because I know. I know someone watching this is living this right now. Someone is sitting at home, finding out about a party they weren't invited to. And I need them to hear this. You are not a problem to be managed. You are not too much. You are not an embarrassment. You are not a liability. You are a whole person. And any family system, no matter how loving it appears from the outside, that teaches you too. Shrink yourself to earn a seat at the table. That is a broken system, not a broken you. And to the parents out there, please, I am asking you, the next time you think about quietly excluding your kid from something because you're not sure how they'll behave, or because you're worried about appearances, stop and ask yourself, what message am I sending? What are they going to believe about themselves after this? Because your child will not remember that party, but they will remember not being invited. They will carry that. I carried it, and it took me years and a lot of work on myself to understand that my worth was never tied to their approval. That I didn't need to win an award or get recognized or become something impressive for my presence to be deserved. I deserve to be at that table just because I'm me. And so do you. If this story hit home for you, if you felt like the embarrassing one, the difficult one, the one who gets quietly managed and edited out, drop a comment below. Tell me your story. Because I promise you, you are not alone in this. And if you're struggling with your family right now, with rejection, with conditional love, with feeling like you have to earn your place, please talk to someone, a therapist, a trusted friend, a counselor. You deserve support. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.